Welcome to 5 Minutes with, and today we have Professor of Early Childhood, Karin Murris. Karin, thank you for joining us. Shall we start by talking about your research?
Okay, well, thanks for the invitation, first of all, Laura. I'm holding a book. I'll show that in a minute, but that is significant. It feels like a lifetime ago, but I started in children's literature as a youth librarian, so that was my first degree. And then I studied philosophy. Academic philosophy is just my discipline. And then later on, I sort of combined the two. It's funny how these things go, into an approach called philosophy for children. Right. And although philosophy for children sounds like that is just for children, it's actually relevant for all ages. It's about building communities of inquiry where we think together without being defensive, which actually young children are very capable of doing, of just like thinking out loud. And it's a way of inhabiting knowledge and finding out and building relationships, not only with other people, but also with the world. Yeah. And so, yeah, I suppose one way of saying it is that all my research is about knowledge and about not just what we teach, but especially how we teach and how we do research. So it's a very rich coming together of like teaching and learning, so pedagogy and philosophy, because all teaching at the end of the day, also at universities, is about what we think the world is about or how it's put together. And sort of that's really what my research is about. And this is a really good, that's why when you suggested bring something with you, I think this book, Me and My Belly Button, is a really nice summing up. And on the photo that I sent you, which is at the start of this interview, I'm actually working with children in they're six-year-olds in a South African classroom. And with this particular picture book, which was written by myself and my child, well, he wasn't 5-year-old, but the ideas were very much when he was 5. And so why is that significant? And especially for, the context of today, is that it really is about how when we philosophize with children, that we get to know ways of being and understanding the world, which is very different from the way we learn it in schools, and all the way through the educational system, which is very much keeping the world at a distance and very much cut up into the different kind of disciplines. So I'm very interested in undisciplining the disciplines and thinking about how we can change our relationship towards knowledge and truth, in particular, inspired by young children's thinking.
And that seems to have also relevance for a program like the Biodiverse Anthropocenes.
Very much so.
Also due to its transdisciplinary component. So can you maybe make some links between your research and the program itself?
Well, I think it is how we do also within the program do research, also how we teach at the university. So I suppose what I'm advocate is a kind of childlike education. So, and what is that like? Anyone who's been living and working with 4- or 5-year-olds is that they ask questions and more questions, and you give an answer, you get more questions. So how can we keep those questions alive? And so how can we teach in ways where we don't think that we have to give the answers, also in research? And in particular, what I'm interested in is when we think about early childhood education, we're so used to the way we work with children in a very material way, where we already assume that materiality is important and the environment is important. So how can we not just focus so much on words when we teach, but also on the more than human or the non-human in teaching? So it is changing the way we relate to the world. And, you know, that's going to be so critical for climate change and species extinction and biodiversity. It's a much more respectful way of relating to others, and not so much starting from the human is always important, but just how can we build relationships across, and we can learn so much from children.
Yeah.
So it's trying to really emphasize the importance of what children, and not just, you know, these fleshy beings in the world who are also important, but it's childlike, a childing that we can do, that everyone can do in education, at the university and our research. So that's why it's so relevant for the program.
Fantastic, yes. And maybe a last question, but you've already started answering to that. It's really about then how to tackle the global challenges that we're facing at the moment.
Yeah, well, it is by the stories we tell about doing science in ways where the political and the ethical are not separate from scientific pursuits of knowledge, which at the moment is often the case. It's an afterthought, but that when we do responsible science, that is already allowing the materiality of the world that we are part of to respond. And I think we can learn so much from children in doing that. So, yeah.
That's wonderful. Karin, thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
It was a real pleasure. And good luck. And and I look forward to working more with people in the program.
Yes, me too. Thank you. And thanks everybody for watching, and see you next time.